obviously this past weekend, Logan came out. It's getting a bunch of awesome buzz reviews. I saw it and loved it, so I figured that I would kind of briefly go over some of my history with X-Men movies, and kind of build in to kind of like my opinions on Logan. There won't be any spoilers in this. It's really just gonna be talking about like my feelings about the movie with no actual info on what was in the movie, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So like, let's get into it. So I know it's pretty obvious that I like Star Wars. But something that I loved earlier, and probably more than I ever loved Star Wars, and I'm saying this knowing that, you know, some of the source material isn't super awesome, some of the movies were kind of shitty, is X-Men. Literally my whole life can be marked by moments of X-Men. When I was a kid, I used to watch the 90s cartoon show. You hear that theme song, and you just get smacked in the face. Then when I got older, I watched X-Men Evolution, and this was kind of after I rekindled my love of X-Men with X2. X-Men 2 was released in 2003. Then my life would change forever. I have very vivid memories of how this whole scenario went down. I remember that my best friend Sean wanted to go to the movies. We were gonna go with our other friends, Owen and Steph, and I wasn't even like super hyped to see it because I think I'd kind of forgotten about X-Men over the years, and the motherfucker slapped me in the face. This changed my life. And you're probably like, that's gotta be a gross exaggeration. Nah, you don't know. You could probably ask my mom, she probably remembers. This movie changed my life. I remember watching it in the theater and like nothing could distract me from how awesome it was, except for the fact that my friend Owen kept chewing on cups for some reason. We don't know why, but he ate like half a cup. That is literally the only thing that pulled me out of the viewing experience of X2, the X-Men United. For me, X2 remains to be the perfect comic book movie, and you're probably like, well, what about all these new Marvel Cinematic movies that are amazing? And you say you love them and stuff, and I do love them. I do love them, but they're more action movies now with superhero characters in them, and like Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like a sci-fi space adventure type thing. They've really just overall changed how those movies, like the tone of those movies. This movie was like the perfect blend. It literally blended everything perfectly. It wasn't too cheesy. I'm not saying that it is the best superhero movie. I would definitely not even come close to saying that at this point, but I would say that it is the best comic book movie. After I saw X2, I insisted that we immediately had to go out and buy X1. This is not actually the original copy of that. I've since upgraded my collection to Blu-ray, and I watched X-Men 1 every single day after school for weeks. And I mean weeks, like it was like a month straight of watching it every day after school. I used to literally go on the Fox website and watch like the little tiny teaser clips for this right up until the point that this came out on DVD, because they would show you like little clips of the movie so you could see like that scene where Rogue and Bobby and Pyro are trying to escape the mansion when all the Black Ops dudes come around the corner, and then Wolverine just jumps off the balcony. He's like, ugh!
Let's go.
It was intense. I loved it. I used to make my mom try to watch it, and this is like dial-up days, so you'd have to just wait there really patiently for this like 30-second clip to load, and you could watch it and it would stutter along. It was terrible. It was beautiful. That was the real struggle. I remember that there was this store that sold comic books that had this. I remember there was a store that sold comic books that had this poster chilling in their window, and I was like, Mom, can we please go in and ask them like if they'll sell that to me? Like, can we please? Can we please? And we did. And the dude was like, you can just have it. And I don't know if he was just excited that there was like this little like younger child just super stoked about X-Men, that he was like, yeah, you can have this promotional poster that's not supposed to be for resale or redistribution. It actually says that right on the bottom of it, but he just let me have it. I remember I like pre-ordered the second movie at like 3 different places so I could get t-shirts or like bobblehead toys. And I was so excited for the t-shirt because it was gonna say, you know, Xavier School of Gifted Youngsters, like that. And then I got it and it was like triple XL, and I still wore it. I would wear like a sweater, like a hoodie, and then wear it over top of it. It made me look like I gained like literally 100 pounds. And I still have, I cut out this part, and I used to put it on a bag that I had, and now I just keep it. I don't know what I'm gonna put it on next, but I kept it because I love it. And the third movie kind of really sucked because Bryan Singer decided that he wanted to record this really shitty Superman movie. He decided he was gonna, you know, film this instead. So the third movie went to shit because it got a director that didn't care about X-Men. So yeah, then they announced that they're gonna make this thing. Literally every X-Men movie up to this point has basically been a Wolverine Origins movie. Every single X-Men movie has massive amounts of Wolverine Origins in it. Like, why do we need another one? But I was like, you know what? There are some really awesome stuff in Wolverine's past. I'd read the Origin comics. I'd read a bunch of the stuff that happened before he actually meets up with the X-Men. A lot of really cool things happen there. So I was like, yeah, maybe this will be cool. Then I go see this damn thing on a midnight release, and they destroy like every possible character you could think of. Like they ruined Deadpool in this thing, they ruined Gambit in this thing, they ruined Wolverine in this, like they ruin a lot of things in this, and it was just, it's fine, it hit a carpet, I don't break my belongings, but that's a trash movie. That started pissing me off. So at that point, I was getting a little bit annoyed of the Wolverine train, you know? Once that dude realizes he screws up, Mr. Bryan Singer, he's like, let's try our hand at X-Men again and go back. But this one kind of pissed me off because they call it First Class, but they couldn't actually use the First Class roster because they'd already used them in a different timeline, so they put in a bunch of other people in this, so it's not really First Class, it's just the name, so that already pissed me off. Kevin Bacon in this is fucking terrible. Emma Frost is played by literally, I think, what's her name, January Jones? She's literally the worst actress in the world. I'm not exaggerating. I would rather they have dyed Megan Fox's hair and got her to play this character that she doesn't even remotely look like, because even she can act better than January Jones can. But overall, this movie was pretty good. It actually has like this really, really awesome scene with Magneto that it reminds me of Inglourious Bastards. So I respect that. I respect that about these movies, and it was at least on the right trail. You know, a lot of the X-Men movies fail, but this one was on the right trail, and luckily they had like a very brief scene with Wolverine. When I found out he was gonna be in it, and I was like, why does he need to be in this one too? It was like a 2-second clip of him telling them to fuck off. It was great. Then The Wolverine came out, and I went to see this with low expectations after the first one, and this one wasn't too bad. You know, this was a pretty good standard action movie. It was good. Then this one comes out, and you see Wolverine right dead center. He's front and center. He's not even supposed to be that important in this storyline. He's in it, but technically Kitty Pryde is more important in this storyline, and they're just like, nah, screw you, Ellen Page. We just going with Hugh Jackman. We're gonna set Wolverine in time, man. Wolverine lost in time. But again, this one was a pretty good movie. Did a lot of good things right. And then finally, most recently, we get this one. And finally, I'm like, okay, there is no reason for Wolverine to be in this one. He's not around yet. The timeline has changed. There is no reason for Wolverine to be in a movie where you've got a young Scott Summers, a young Jean Grey, a young Storm. There's no reason for it. They had not experienced him yet. And then they put him in this movie in a scene that it was like an Easter egg that nobody needed. So basically the point I'm getting at with all of this is that Wolverine has been a little bit too much of a presence in the X-Men movies. I know people love him. I know he's a driving force. I know he's like half the reason some people go to see X-Men movies, and that's fine, man. Hugh Jackman does a great job with the role. They usually do a pretty good job writing him, but I was like, we don't need this much Wolverine, man. There's so many other interesting X-Men characters that you can build on. Why didn't they cut the Wolverine scene from Apocalypse and add in the scene where all of the teens are at the mall? Because like, character development, man. All I want to see is some 80s teenage X-Men hanging out in the mall going to see freaking Star Wars and browsing through records. I'd watch an entire movie about that. But basically, like I'm saying, when they announced Logan, I was like, for the love of God, why do they keep doing this to me? And then I started seeing trailers, and then I noticed that little rated R, and then I noticed the actual theatrical posters that had the little tiny hand holding his clearly bloody hand, and I was like, oh, baby, they're doing Old Man Logan. We are not only getting some Old Man Logan action here, we are getting some X-23 action. That's gonna be a great time. If this has an R rating, there's no way Fox has its grimy little greedy hands in it too much, so hopefully we're gonna get a lot of like genuine people making this movie. And then the reviews started coming in, and I was like, okay, I'm not now just like, man, I gotta see Logan. It is now, I have to see Logan. And I went to see it, and it was so good, man. That movie took me on an emotional ride. I kind of wish that I'd recorded this on Saturday right after I saw it, because the next day I went to see Get Out. Like, I'm on so many different like hype beast trains for movies right now, but I was so excited. It's just watching people that you've grown to know struggling through life in the future, and everything seems futile, and just fighting for those positive moments. And I feel like life is like that. Life is all about fighting for the ups, fighting for the positives in life. I'm not saying everybody is in like as shitty a situation as Logan is at the beginning of this movie, or in the entirety of this movie, but like it's true, man. Like, you gotta fight for the positives in life. But overall, like, the movie, it was very, very good. Like, hands down, best Wolverine movie, probably one of the best X-Men movies, but in my opinion, it's definitely the best of like those darker, more edgy toned movies. It is basically the Batman Begins Dark Knight to the X-Men series. It takes what you know and it amps it up. And Wolverine's really one of the only characters you can do that with in the X-Men universe. Hugh Jackman obviously has the character down. He's been doing it for so long that he probably does have a little bit of those like old man Logan sentiments towards it. Like, how many years has he been working on this? I don't want to go on about it too much because, like I said, I don't want to get into any spoilers, but overall it was a very good movie. I think Daphne Keane, I'm pretty sure that's her name, she's the one who did X-23. She did a great job. Minimal lines throughout the movie, but what she had hit home, and her facial expressions really took care of everything else when she wasn't really talking. Patrick Stewart brought Xavier to a whole different level of the character that you've never seen before. Overall, just a fantastic outing. If you guys are remotely X-Men fans, definitely go see it. If you're just fans of movies in general, go see it. If you had any interest in any of the previous X-Men movies, I would consider seeing it. And if you've never seen an X-Men movie or a Wolverine movie, you'd probably be able to see this pretty good. Some of the things might be a little bit confusing, you might not understand. It's kind of hard to say how much you'd understand not knowing anything about X-Men, but I feel like in today's day and age, people have at least been somewhat of an idea of who Wolverine is, what he is, that kind of stuff. But it was just overall a really good movie and something that I think a lot of people should consider checking out. If you like any kind of action movies, if you like any kind of like brooding, kind of character-driven dramas, it definitely throws a lot of that in there too, which is a very big breath of fresh air for X-Men movies and superhero movies in general. And they keep making the X-Men movies. If they keep making the X-Men movies, I'm excited to see how they drive themselves forward without needing Wolverine there to like back everything to fall back on, basically. I basically just want to go over the fact that I'm a big X-Men fan. I was a little bit sick of Wolverine, and this movie still gets a big old thumbs up. Was really good. I'm probably gonna see it again sometime in the next couple weeks. Very excited for that. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll catch you all later.